Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John, this is many a true nerd, and welcome back to Skies of Arcadia. Where last time, it turns out Captain Dad may have been right to be cautious about helping Fina, given, yes, it's been less than a day since she arrived, and the Valorans have attacked, my village has been burnt down, and my entire crew has been kidnapped. With the exception of Ben there, who the Valorans decided wasn't worth kidnapping. Oh, Ben is going to need so much therapy when this is done. And speaking of Ben, yes indeed, probably the best thing to start off with today is figuring out, who's alive, who's dead, who's been captured, who's still here. So, fill me in a bit. Vise, is that you? We got hit by the Valorans. Yes, Ben, I cocking noticed. The women and children took refuge underground, but the captain and the others, they were all captured and taken prisoner. So okay, by the sounds of it, bare minimum, a fair few folks were able to maybe escape by hiding underground, though one super cute touch, by the way, he's actually kind of wrong. Almost everyone decided to hide underground, but if you check every single house, in particular this one over here, your father and everyone else tried to make me run and hide underground, but I refused. Call me a stubborn old woman if you want, but when I die, I want to die in my own home. And just indeed, Skies of Arcadia is, for the most part, a very lovely, happy, colourful game, but just occasionally it comes out of nowhere and hits you with a surprisingly bloody hard line. Still, thankfully on this occasion, a good old granny is not dead. By sheer coincidence, her house was not hit directly, so okay, let's mosey underground and see who else is still about. Oh, and it's even sadder down here. Like outside we just had ominous silence. Now we get underground. We've got full-on sad music playing. Oh, and poor Lindsay. Lindsay, it's gonna be okay. A whole bunch of ships came and started shooting at us. They took everyone's dads away. And our houses, our whole village. Don't worry, Lindsay. I'm gonna make it right, I promise. And yes, indeed. Tragically, that beautiful ship we got to drive in the first episode, it's been destroyed. And we will never get the chance to drive it again. And even the dog is doing sad barks because of how sad the situation is. It's okay, pal. It's all gonna be fine, I promise. Vise, Aika, thank the moons you two are safe. What happened to Dad? Where's everyone else? And your father said if we fight, too many lives will be lost. So he surrendered. So Captain Dine and all the others, taken prisoner by the Armada, and taken away to Valor. And on top of that, of course, Fina, which was the entire cocking reason they were attacking. And in Valor, the punishment for piracy is death, and Fina will probably be killed too. Vise, what are we going to do? And on this occasion, there's nothing we can do or try and save everyone. Okay, we don't have, a plan or anything yet, but still, yeah, basically not giving up. That's probably a good idea. And what do you think, Aika? We have to save our families, and Fina too. I know rescuing everyone isn't going to be easy, but it's not impossible. We can't let them get away with this. Don't worry, we'll get them back, though. Yes, indeed. There is a rather big somehow at the end of this sentence, given we have no plan whatsoever. But bare minimum, Aika's on board too. Brilliant. Unfortunately, you won't be able to do anything against Valor in the shape you're in right now. Don't just rush after them, you need a plan. It's not going to be an easy fight. So, okay, thankfully, my mother's here to talk some cocking sense into me. So, okay, Mom, you're right. Aika, let's rest up today. We'll leave for Valor first thing in the morning. So, okay, it's not really much of a plan. To be honest, we're just, having a quick night's rest. Then we're just going to Valor once again without a plan. But screw it, we'll be well rested at the time. And meanwhile, elsewhere, yes indeed, Galcian's flagship, the Serpent, that we saw at the end of the last episode. The ship that attacked our village and, as we already knew, their primary interest was in fact, Fina. Lord Galcian, as you ordered, I brought the girl to see you. Excellent. You may leave. At last we meet, Fina. You cannot imagine how much trouble the Armada has gone through to find you. And how did you know my name? I am Galcian, Sworn Protector of Valor and Supreme Commander of the Imperial Armada. I'm under direct orders from Her Royal Highness Empress Theodora to find you and bring you back to Valor. As a citizen of the Silver Civilization, you have information that is useful to us. Will you help us? And for the time being, Fina says nothing. I see. I did not expect you to help us without the proper motivation. However, I do believe we have the same goals, so wouldn't it be best for us to help each other? We will reach Valor in half a day. Enjoy the comforts of the brig until then. So very well, we learned something about Fina, and more importantly, we learned that Galcian knows more about her than we do. The Valorans are most definitely one step ahead of us. Anyway, following morning, and yes indeed, it's time for us to set sail, and given the Albatross has been destroyed, we've got nothing but this tiny boat once again, though rather charmingly, the kids have come to see us off. Including Pow, who's feeling, much more chirpy today, so okay boy, I have to go away for a while, you be a good dog and look after everyone while I'm away. Pow's great, I love Pow. I assume he's saying yes. And as for Lindsay, you have to promise me you'll come back safely no matter what, okay? And... okay. Like, really I shouldn't promise this, because that's not a promise I can keep, but given Lindsay is a small child, I'm going to lie to her to make her feel better and say yes, I promise I'm not going to die. And sure, I promise, have I ever not come home safely, and have I ever let you down before? And as it turns out, no, I've always previously come home, which means logically, I will continue to do so because Lindsay's a child and thus hopefully will not notice the logical problems here. And with that done, it's time to set sail, so... okay kids, you have fun fixing up the island, we're off to Valor, and... okay, seriously, we still don't have a cocky plan actually. And though she wasn't at the dock with the children, my mother is still nearby to watch me go. I do enjoy, by the way, even the tiny low poly pirate isle is actually correct. Like, the ladder is broken on pirate isle, so therefore in the tiny version you see in the overworld, it's broken too, which is delightful. So, alright, like we were saying, just a compass to north. Basically, straight to a Shrine Island and keep on keeping on, but, okay, let's just say you might reasonably be expecting at this point that Visor's day has already got pretty much as bad as it's going to get, and, oh Vise, I've got some bad news for you yet. Because yes indeed, as we head further and further north, literally the only way we can go for the time being, given yes, our tiny ship can most definitely not break through that giant rock reef on the right, visibility is suddenly looking a lot worse. The fog's too thick, I can barely see. That's strange, there's never any fog in this region. I wonder what's causing it. The only way to get to Valor is through here, slow to half speed, and Vise wait, we're too close to that island, and let's just say things are about to get worse. Yes indeed, that's not a cocking island. Something gigantic has just emerged from the clouds. And apparently, Vise knows what this is at least. It's an arcwhale. Vise, we're going to get killed if we get too close to it, but we've got to hurry to Valor. What should we do? So, okay. This one, I feel like should be a pretty easy choice. Attacking it, probably not a good idea, not least as we're currently in a dinghy that doesn't have any cocky guns on it, and I don't know is generally not a good idea. Yes, given there's a gigantic cocking whale, probably best we, retreat for the minute and try again another day. And what do you think we're going to do? Of course we're going to retreat. We don't stand a chance against that thing in this tiny ship. I know we're in a hurry, but if that thing capsizes us, everyone we know will be executed. We need to play it safe. And okay, I can't argue with that. We'll be okay as long as it doesn't see us. Oh, Ike, you had to go and cock and jinx it, didn't ya? Yes, indeed. I'm pretty sure it just cocking saw us. And Vise, yep, it definitely knows we're here. Grab hold of something and brace yourself and do not let go. The ship, it's breaking up. Yes, as I say, Vice's day just keeps getting cocking worse. Hey. Still, it's not all bad news. I appear to be, not dead, so that's good at least. Are you gonna sleep all day? Get up. And yes, indeed, Device is still feeling, a bit on the groggy side. Ika's here too, that's good. Ika's also not dead. And, Ika, are you okay? And you finally decided to get up, huh? Thanks to you two, Rackham got away. I was so close. And Rackham, I remember that huge arcwhale that blew our ship off course. I thought we were finished, but you rescued us. Thank you so much. And thanks, you say, don't you start with me. And straight away, Vice just gets punched in the face. I'm not sure why, but I keep getting hurt today. And what are you doing, you rusty old man? He didn't do anything. I've been chasing after that arcwhale for years. I was so close to finally capturing him, but because of you kids, he got away. Debris from your ship hit my sails. I'm lucky my ship's even still airborne. You kids were even luckier I was here to grab you. I was working all morning tossing what was left of your ship overboard, and now I'm stuck with the two of you. And unfortunately, our ship was, not just, damaged or whatnot. It's gone. So right, the Albatross is gone, my other tiny ship is now gone too, so, Vice, you do not have a good track record with the ships you fly, do you? And unfortunately, yes, this isn't a passenger ship either. Everyone on board needs to pull their own weight. If you don't like it, you can jump off. I need to keep the load as light as possible anyway, so, yes indeed. This guy is not precisely helping us out of the kindness of his heart. We're now pretty much working for him. And speaking of which, here's our first job. Go down into the hull and bring the 2 supply boxes up to the bridge.
Aye, aye.
2 boxes, no problem. I'll bring them right away. And actually, sir, we were on our way to Valor when we were attacked. Where is this ship headed? And where the ship is going is none of your concern. Now get moving. I do enjoy our new boss. He's great. So, okay. For the time being at least, we need to play along and do what this guy wants me to do. I'm guessing, yes, he's probably not up for any further questions, at least for the time being. Still, it could be worse, because I believe, yes indeed, if you just step outside for a second, poor old Ika is just stuck doing scrubbing. Meanwhile, down at the bottom of the boat, yes indeed, this old girl is no albatross, shall we say. We've got a very old engine here, and feels like it's about to shake itself to pieces, so, okay. This is not really a fantastic boat, gotcha. Still, bare minimum, she does have a couple of lifeboats, so, okay, if this ship gets blown up, like every other cocky ship Vice seems to touch, we do at least have an escape route on this occasion. Still, no need to worry about that, just a straight up to, yes, the first deck here, because I'm pretty sure the crates we are after are, yes, these ones right here, magnificent, so I'm just doing scrubbing, I'm just doing some carrying, lovely. Well, bare minimum, our new boss appears to be at least somewhat impressed with how I managed to get that box upstairs. At least to the extent he would now like to know our name. So yes indeed sir, my name is Vise, and I'm a blue rogue, and I used to do this kind of work on a pirate ship all the time. An air pirate, huh? And what would 2 air pirates be doing sailing alone? And yes indeed, we've got our reasons, though, you know what? Fair enough. Maybe you don't want to open up to this guy, given you know nothing about him. Still, that's not going to stop me begging to go to Valor. And Valor, huh? Explain. Okay, he's not giving me anything else until I give him something. And I guess we assume I've just told him the full cocking story. Trying to pick a fight with the Armada, huh? You've got to be out of your mind, boy. I have no time to babysit you and your friend, and I need to find Rackham again. Try your luck with a different chap. And I say, it would really help if you could bring us, but I can't force you. And by the way, why precisely are you chasing Rackham anyway? And okay, that's at least bare minimum. He's not willing to share just yet, though you may well have noticed, of course, yes indeed, an old sailor obsessed with hunting down a whale. This is basically just Captain Ahab and Moby Dick, because Skies of Arcadia repeatedly, happily, and shamelessly just takes tropes out of well-loved stories and recycles them into its delightful plots. And with the second box brought upstairs and dumped down, there we go. My first task has been completed. Magnificent. Now come on, buddy. Bare minimum, let's be, civil with each other. And alright, on to the next chore. Take the helm and... alright, that's more cooking like it. I now get to pilot the boat, though, I would not let Vice do this. Like, boatsy pilots do have a habit of exploding. Most of my duties revolved around raiding, so I hardly ever got the chance to actually fly our old ship, and Vice, do not tell the man that. Seriously, just let Ica do the talking, Vice. And well, they're pretty old, but everything seems to be in good shape. The wheel is so light, it's really responsive too. This ship must make really tight turns. And for someone who's hardly ever been at the helm, you actually seem to know a bit, boy. And I spent a fair bit of time on the bridge of my old ship, so I picked up a lot. Good. In which case, let's see if you can actually sail. Our destination is Sailor's Island, about 40 leagues northeast from here. And before that, yes indeed, you could at least tell me the name of the ship, and yours while you're at it, and... there we go. The ship's called Little Jack, and I'm Drachma. And for the time being, yes, we're kind of working for this guy. There is, however, one rather wonderful bit of news, which is, we're up to 3 people in our team. And on top of that, the lad's allowed me to use his blue moonstone, so we've got another element for our weapons, and a new school of magic we can learn. And that's pretty bloody useful because we're going into Valor. And as we saw previously, Valor troops are all colour-coded yellow. Valor is literally an empire under the yellow moon. And guess what element is super effective against yellow? Yeah, we're going to be getting a lot of use out of that blue stone going forwards. But let's just take a moment to, appreciate Drachma here, because Drachma is an absolute cocking beast. Alright, he joins the team at level 12. And on top of that, bloody cocking hell, this man is a tank with almost 2,000 hit points. Drachma just refuses to cocky die, and his defense is nearly double Vice's. Basically, for the time being, Drachma is going to be a cocking monster. You see, up to this point in the game, we've only been playing with Vice and Ica, and both of them are, to some extent or another, generalists. Like, Vice is better at physical attacks, but he's competent at using magic if he has to. Ica, meanwhile, does a bit better with magic, but her boomerang is perfectly solid. Drachma, however, is the first character where you've actually got to understand what he's good at and focus on that. Drachma is terrible at magic. Despite being 5 levels higher than us, his will is barely higher than Vice's, and significantly behind Ica's too. He is incredibly slow, he can barely dodge, he is entirely about physical attacks and incredible tankiness. That's what he's for, use him for that. And you know what? Given we're currently swimming in moonberries, yes indeed, how about we let our new friend Drachma have a super move? So straight away, he concentrates all of his energy into his artificial arm and charges one enemy, giving him access to his tackle. Beautiful. And go on then, the rest of the team can have something too. So Vice takes a defensive stance, countering all physical enemy attacks for a full turn. So yes, if you're facing a crowd and you think they're going to be doing physical attacks against you, you're guaranteed to get counters under all circumstances. A bit of a situational move, but it can be bloody good. So there we go, Vice learns Counter-Strike. And Ica can also pick up a rather interesting defensive move here, so... on this occasion, create an anti-magic shell around all allies for 1 turn. But it doesn't just block hostile magic, it blocks your own too. And there we go, Ica picks up Delta Shield. Lovely, because yes, for no well-explained reason, all her super moves are named after Greek letters. I don't know why, nothing else about Ica is anything to do with the Greek alphabet or Greek culture or anything, but yes, for some reason, that's just how her moves get named. Right, back to the boat. And yes indeed, on account of the limited altitudes we can fly at on occasion, you're going to find, something you can neither go above or indeed below. So on occasion you are going to need to look for tunnels through larger islands, which is what this area is attempting to teach us. So just a mosey straight through here. And there we go, that's our destination, Sailor's Island. But before we get to that... can I help you? This ship here is a free medical vessel. Are you here for treatment? Are you sick or something? Wait a second. Your clothes, your weapons, your eye patch. you guys are air pirates. You're just in time. There's something I want to ask of you guys. Please come aboard. So, alright. Before we can even make it to Sailor's Island, we've been immediately pulled into something else. And, hello there. Lovely to meet you. And I apologise for the abruptness. I know you don't need my services and have no need to stay here, but I have a favour to ask of you. But first, let me introduce myself. The name's Doc, or that's what everyone calls me. I'm a free doctor. I don't have a country to call home, but that lets me live the way I want to. So I fly the skies and I heal sick and injured sailors wherever the winds take me. And this here is Maria. She's a spot quiet and shy, but she's a good kid. And indeed, she lives up to her reputation. She doesn't really have much to say. And just indeed, good sir, what is it you actually wanted us to do? And directed to the point, I like it, but here, take this lens, it's sort of related to what I want to ask you. And here we go, a brand new thingy I can clip straight onto my eye patch, marvellous. And apparently, it's called a moon lens. It's a special lens made from moonstones. With it, you can see things you wouldn't normally be able to. So, okay, that's one more for the pile of things the cocking moon did, on this occasion, creating magic glass that lets you see invisible things. So put the lens on and look where I'm pointing. And yes indeed, right now, not really much going on, though in just a second. Yes indeed, there's some sort of creature right there. And it's called a moonfish. Tricky fellas to catch because they're transparent. You can only see them using the lens. Which brings me to the favour I want to ask of you. I want you to find as many of these moonfish as you can and bring them back to me. They tend to nest in populated areas for whatever reason, so check towns and dungeons. But they also try to keep out of most people's way, so look in hard to reach areas like behind buildings, under bridges, and rooftops. And one final problem, of course, which is, once we found them, how am I supposed to catch a flying invisible fish? And as it turns out, that bit's actually pretty bloody easy. Literally all we do is look at the fish, and there we go, we just tap A to suck it in using, I don't know, possibly my eye patch. It's kind of a bit unclear how Vise gets these things, but like, he's got some sort of magic fish suction yo-yo device now, and it lets him catch fish. Don't ask questions, it was probably the cocking moon. And the reason we're doing this is, in fact, the small bird that's currently being held by Maria. I wanted to take care of it, but I just don't get what this bird's problem is. He refuses to eat anything other than moonfish. But I can't leave my ship and I can't leave Maria here all alone. That's why I'm asking you for this favour. And as the good doctor says, this is very much something you want to do, because this mission gets you some ridiculously bloody good items. And, okay, when he says, I'll give you items in return, let's just say he's telling a bit of a small white lie there. But you know what? We'll get to that in just a second, because, okay, there's going to be a small subset of you at home right now who are really, really cocky confused. Specifically, those of you who played this game on the Dreamcast and are now under the impression you're going bananas because you do not remember that bloody scene happening. And, okay, it's time for us to discuss what game I'm playing right now. And, okay, back in the year 2000, there was a game on the Dreamcast called Skies of Arcadia, but as many of you will know, the Dreamcast didn't really work out. It was Sega's last console, it was not a success. Sega basically decided to drop out on the hardware game at that point and just start producing games instead. In fact, pretty much immediately after ceasing work on the Dreamcast, Sega decided their new best friends were their former rivals Nintendo, and the Nintendo GameCube gained a whole bunch of Sega games, one of which was Skies of Arcadia, but it was not a simple port. No, there is a whole bunch of new stuff in Skies of Arcadia on the GameCube that was not in Skies of Arcadia on the Dreamcast, and there's a very specific reason why. Say hello to the Dreamcast Visual Memory Unit. This here was basically an external hard drive for the Sega Dreamcast that you used to save your game data, because there was an entire decade of gaming history where consoles had already gone over to disk-based formats like CDs and DVDs, but didn't have hard drives in them, meaning there was no way to save your game aside from plugging in a small external hard drive that we generally called a memory pack. But the Sega Dreamcast had a rather fun quirk to theirs, which is, it wasn't just a memory pack. It was also a very tiny handheld games console that you could play on the go, and progress you made in the Skies of Arcadia minigame unlocked items back in Skies of Arcadia on the Dreamcast. Specifically, a very large number of unique items you simply couldn't get elsewhere. This caused a bit of a problem when the game moved to GameCube because the GameCube didn't have an equivalent system. As a result, all those items that got unlocked in a tiny mini-game on the Dreamcast version were instead added into the game proper behind a series of really cooking difficult optional boss fights and a few extra missions just like this one. Anyway, that's enough technical talk, let's motion over to Sailor's Island because, unfortunately yes, despite the progress we've made with good old Drachma, me and him aren't precisely, best friends just yet. Though I will say, this is yet another location with some spectacular cocking music. I love the theme to this place. And yes indeed, apparently, Vise has never been here before. And Ike has never been here either. Good. But once again, she's maintaining a good attitude about the situation. Marvellous. And that's good, because after I restock my supplies here, I'm leaving again. You two can stay. So right, we've just been marooned here. Magnificent. We've got no ship. Are you planning just to strand us here, Drachma? And I've got to find Ragnar, and in the meantime, I have to find a cannon that's powerful enough to destroy him. I've got no time to waste with you kids. You two can resolve your own problems. And off he goes to the bar because he's done with us. Beautiful. And I wonder if there's anything we could do that would make him change his mind. Maybe we could dig up some information, let's go around town and see what we can find. Because, yes indeed, there was mention there as Drachma sadly leaves the party once again, having barely joined the damn thing, that yes, he's after information about an extremely powerful cannon, so he's got a chance against the arcwhale. Still, we don't need to worry about that immediately because, yes indeed, there's a lot we can do in this tiny town. In particular, straight away we have got ourselves our first fish right up there. Grab you, no trouble whatsoever. I do enjoy, all the ships just floating around this area. That's just marvellous too. We've got all sorts of, yes, deeply suspicious people hanging out round the back of various buildings. Here's Lawrence right here. I've got no use for you if you don't have any money. Do not bother me. Okay, Lawrence, me and him, we're not going to be friends immediately. But maybe one day, damn it. Still, bare minimum, we can start learning a bit about the world here. So, yes indeed, hello there travellers. I'm a merchant from the country of Nasr, a land that lies to the east of here. This area is known as Mid-Ocean. If you sail to the north, you'll reach Valor. Because this island is situated halfway between Nasr and Valor, it's become the perfect spot for traders to exchange information. Maybe you should talk with people around town. You never know what sort of information you might come across. So, fair enough. There may well be various traders from various nations, including from Valor itself. And speaking of which, okay, it's not just our island. Lately, the Valoran Empire has been expanding at an astonishing pace. I can't help but worry. So okay, everyone's a little bit concerned about, what Valor was getting up to. And on top of that, we've got a handful of shops over there, though before we go to those, obviously, we're gonna be needing money. Which brings us very conveniently to the very first Sailors Guild we've run into in the game, which is just bloody marvellous. So, hello there, good sir. Me and you, Mr. Guildmaster, I think we could do some business. So, yes indeed, they purchase information on discoveries. So this here is a good way of getting some easy money if you're actually exploring properly. Though admittedly right now I only know about, one thing, which is the Pirate's Grave. Still, bare minimum, he is shocked and delighted to learn it, meaning, yes, I've got to it relatively efficiently. If you go back to an area later in the game, when time has already passed, then potentially someone else might have found it first, and as a result, he'll pay less. But if he responds like this, you know for certain you got it nice and early. And on top of that, if you want to, for a very modest fee, you can buy hints as to where you might be able to find other stuff that's floating around. So, for only 5 gold, yeah, I'll buy information about an ancient guidepost, so a small island north of Sailor's Island in mid-ocean. You can't miss it. Though, fascinatingly, despite the fact it's apparently already somewhat known to the Guildmaster, he will still pay for confirmed information about it. Not that, I've got a ship right now, so really, I probably shouldn't have bought that. So, that's as much money as we're going to be able to get off him. Let's see if, yes, anyone around here knows anything useful on the topic of giant whale-killing weapons. And I do enjoy that you can solve this mystery immediately by just applying some basic common sense, which is, okay, the guy wants information about, cannons and whatnot. Well, there's literally a shop right here with, a ship on it. That's a logical starting point for learning information about ship cannons. Yes, indeed, this guy would love to sell me some ship parts. Unfortunately, I don't actually own a ship. I'm so sorry, I keep blowing them up. Still, that kind of works because on this occasion, he's actually out of stock too. So, right, I don't need to buy, you don't need to sell. Instead, why don't you stay and talk for a while? I don't have anything better to do, and I might have some information that might interest you. Yes, indeed, he most certainly cocky does. So I'm glad you asked, big guy. It's something I heard from a sailor on his way back from Valois. He says the ship parts merchant in Valois just started selling a cannon that they call the harpoon cannon. And, okay, if you predicted that the cannon that was going to be good at killing giant sky whales was going to be called the harpoon cannon, congratulations, you are now operating on the same wavelength as this game. Well done. Still, before we mosey on back to the bar to say hi to Drachma and see what we could do to negotiate passage to Valois, yes indeed, you can actually hear in the background there the little tick of a lovely, lovely moonfish, but unfortunately, on this occasion, yes, that's one we can't get from the ground. Like Doc was suggesting, you do need to, get high up in order to access them. So, fortunately, there's a hotel with a balcony right here. And hotels are really, really cocking useful, because this is basically how you heal out in the world. You pay a small fee, and as a result you get back everything. Health, magic points, it's basically the only way to get a full health top up. And on top of that, it's often where you find save points. But no, don't worry about that. Instead, step outside here, and as the McJibble starts making noise, Moonfish number 2 is now in our possession. And there's one more mystery we can collect at the very rear of the island. So just, mosey into this tiny lighthouse right here. And then climb right up to the top. And if we just mosey round, we'll find a balloon. I wonder what it's doing here. Hang on, there's something attached to it. A note. So Quetcha, please send warriors to help us fight against the evil. Quetcha, please send warriors to help us fight against the Valorans. So, okay. A bit of a mystery for now, but it sounds like, yeah, someone somewhere is also having trouble with the Valorans. Doesn't really make too much sense now, but yes, down the line, we might just be able to understand what that note means and where it comes from. Right, next up, let's spend some money, because I can't help but notice there is, yes, a very large weapony looking store right here, though, okay, before we speak to this magnificent weapon trader right here, can we just have a moment's silence for this lad here, because this here is Pinter. He's basically, the gatekeeper who gives you access to the minigame that gives you some of the best items in the game. And, yes, as I say, in this version, that minigame doesn't exist. But Pinter's still here, it's just now he's completely cocking useless. I'm Pinter, and I travel the skies looking for all sorts of equipment. Or at least I did before the Dreamcast failed. Poor Pinter. Okay, for the time being, let's talk to this magnificent bastard. And on this occasion, yes, we can actually finally afford some stuff, so okay, 100% new sword for Vice every cocking time, abso-cocking-lutely. And of course, there's nothing to stop you selling old weapons if that's what you want to do. Like, I don't really want to sell the original cutlass because that was a gift from my dad. So, we're going to keep that. But this one, we can sell to get a bit of money back. And as for our new friend, yeah, I suspect she's going to be rejoining the team in a moment. Don't worry, let's get a nice new arm for him to welcome him back to the team. And on top of that, yes, we could most definitely do with some massively improved armor, because that is just so much better than what we've got right now. You know what? I'm buying 2 of them. There is also a mystic dress that we could buy to slightly increase, yes, magic resistance instead, but honestly, I really don't see the point. The sailor's uniform is about as good. Then we've got a gemstone ring, massive increase in magic defense, though honestly, yeah, most of the time that's not going to be that good. Though, yes, a Throckrin scale for bonus attack power. Now that device you can most definitely have. So, okay, it's going to lose you a tiny bit of a chance to hit, but gain you attack power. Yeah, every cocking time. Right, in which case, back to the bar that we saw Drachma walking into. Mag-flippin-nificent. And just indeed, Captain Drachma, it is lovely to see you again, and okay, he can't even be bothered to turn around to face me. He's too busy drinking what would appear to be like a giant mug of wine. I love this guy. Drachma's fantastic, and he doesn't even want to be called Captain Drachma because he's no longer my captain. Dear flippin' dear. And yes, indeed, that's too bad, because I just heard about a cannon that might just be able to take out Ragnar, but since we're no longer sailing together, I guess it doesn't matter. And okay, that got his attention, and at this point we can either, you know, just tell him what we know, or instead play coy in order to, you know, see what we can get in return, and that is definitely the sensible option. Gee whiz, Ica, I'd do anything for a ride to Valor. If only there was someone here who could help us along. And yes, indeed, we are trying to bargain with you, Drachma. And now I think about it, I remember hearing about something just like that. Some Valoran soldiers passing through were talking about it just the other day. They said it had enough power to destroy a small island. Alright, I won't get my hopes up, but I'll take it to Valor. And would you believe it, we're going to do our incredibly dumb secret handshake thing once again. Captain, you're the best, and thank you, Polly, for backing us up. And on top of that, you can't just sail in. Instead, we're going to need an entry passport. Unfortunately, I don't have one, but yes, indeed, we might be able to find someone else who does. And there we go, Drachma's back in the party. Dear flippin' dear Drachma, I hope you're not going to make a habit out of this. And as a welcome back gift, buddy, here you go, a brand new hook. You're welcome. And on this occasion, our destination is just over the road, here in the Sailors Guild. I need to get a Valoran passport, and it needs to be soon. So how precisely would I do such a thing? And, okay, apparently that might be a bit difficult. There's an initial application, then extensive background checks that can take a full lunar cycle, and unfortunately, we can't wait around for an entire, presumably, month in Skies of Arcadia terms, because yes indeed, Captain Dad would definitely get executed. So, yes indeed, how about a fake passport? And bloody hell, he is not up for that, and honestly, you know, given how much the Valoran Armada has been burning down islands and causing trouble recently, yeah, I can understand why he would not want to be causing trouble for them. Because apparently, like every other cocking crime in Valor, that leads to execution, damn it. So, yes indeed, we've got nothing from him. But what we do have is a nearby merchant. And you're looking for a Valoran passport, eh? I was in Valor on business, and now I'm on my way home, so I don't need this one anymore. And I have but one request to ask of you, and the passport is yours. Alright, Icup, maybe don't cheer until you've heard the request, alright? You don't know what it's gonna be. I'm a merchant from the Kingdom of Nasr. Nasr is located on a desert island to the east of here. I've heard rumours that the black pirate Baltor's been seen in the skies near there. And Drachma's heard of Baltor too. I've heard of him. He's ruthless, attacks unarmed ships, and steals their cargo. And what I wanted to ask of you was, well, if you could escort me back to Nasr. If you get me safely to Nasr, I will give you the passport when we arrive. So, okay, that seems like an even trade to me. We are definitely not getting a better offer than this. Well, I'd say that yes, we've done everything we can here till we've got some more money, so how about we go and get straight on with that, and now we've got Drachma back on side. So okay, we're going to be taking the lead, the merchant's going to be following after us. So east was what we heard before, and yes indeed, if we follow the gigantic stone reef, that's going to take us in the right direction. And yes indeed, speaking of the stone reef, for the time being, we can't go through it. As time goes by, we'll be able to upgrade the ship and go to more and more bits of the world. For the time being, yes, our tiny ship is a little bit limited. Okay, buddy. Me and you, we just head in this direction. This should be absolutely a-okay. I see no way whatsoever this could go horribly bloody wrong. Like, you know, it's not like Visor's Day could get any worse, is it? And tragically, would you cocking believe it? Yes, we weren't able to just, sneak past a Baltor or whatnot. There is, in fact, a very, very large pirate ship right here waiting to get us, or to be precise, waiting to get the merchant ship. But, obviously, as we just said, they're gonna need to get through us to get to him. Alright men, battle stations! Don't let them escape, and take everything on board that isn't nailed down. Joke's on you, Baltor, I just spent cocking all my money in town. There's basically nothing worth taking. And here we go, ships moving into position, and you can't help but feel that ship is, you know, a lot larger than ours, but I guess we're going to have to make it cocking work. Yes, we're vastly outnumbered, so we cannot let them board. Instead, this fight's going to be done ship to ship with cannons. Our first ever fight in the skies, and oh, well, this is just going to be marvelous. Because yes, indeed, this is the other type of combat you'll be doing in this game. A lot less often, but just on occasion, we'll be going ship to ship, which is beautiful. And, okay, this is a fun little variant of Skies of Arcadia combat. And conceptually, the two types of combat are very similar. You can attack, you can guard, you can use items, etc, etc. One of the key differences being, however, turn order is not determined by speed or anything, instead it's fixed by you choosing who does what when. So for example, if I want to tell Vise to fire the main cannon, I literally choose what round he does it in, right at the start of the fight, in the middle, or right at the end. The key thing to get your head around straight away though is, yes, how well the ship performs is a function of who's doing the job. In the event you're firing a cannon, characters with high attack are going to do more damage. In the event you're guarding, characters with high defense, they're going to be doing a great job. Which basically means on this occasion, Drachma is the best at everything. So I'm just going to say, Vise and IK, you both focus just to save up some lovely, lovely points. And yes, Drachma, firing is up to you. And then, the fight just simply proceeds with the ships just bumbling around each other in the sky and exchanging fire. So, for the time being, yes, because these turns were marked as green on the planner when we were determining what to do when, it means they're not too dangerous. When they're marked as yellow or red, that's when you know you're in cocking trouble. For the time being, though, I am very happy to just chill out. The enemy missed there, which was very, very good indeed, and instead wait for Drachma to take his turn. Not least as, yes, they missed again, better and cocking better. And finally, here comes our attack. So, main cannon, 2,000 damage. Had I could done that, say, it would have done much, much less. And, yes, we're now into critical hits. If you see a C in place, that means focus all firepower on that turn. It's going to do more. Yellow or red, however, consider guarding. It's a nice simple introduction to how this all works. Not least as, depending on, yes, how well you do, the future might shift. If we do a bad job during this turn, then we're going to get a bad turn next time. If we do a good job and do loads of good damage on the critical turn, yes indeed, we're going to get a load of good opportunities in the next round. So, what I think we should do is, yes, potentially given we've taken a bit of damage already, Vise, your defense is reasonable. You do the guarding. Ica, you can actually do some magic to heal up the boat. That's absolutely fine. And Drachma, you fire during the critical turn. So, yep, you can use healing magic on your boat. That's absolutely fine, just to make sure we're nice and healthy. Beautiful. Baltor's probably going to keep firing over and over, but that's absolutely fine. On this occasion, that was a miss, which is good. Meaning next up should be Drachma's attack, which should be pretty much as powerful as it gets, which is lovely, and because they fired on us while Drachma was in command, it did like half the damage. Why? Because Drachma, I was about to say Drachma's doing a good job defensively, but then Drachma missed the critical shot, which is very unfortunate. Then we go into, yes, a guard to further reduce damage, meaning, yes, when we get attacked now, that should do right. On this occasion, another miss. So, unfortunately, that probably means we may well be going into a dangerous round. Turn hard to starboard, let's try and get behind him. But on this occasion, no, it wasn't a case of doing damage on the critical turn. Instead, I'm about to be given a mid-fight choice. This happens during air fights all the time, and it's deeply delightful. It looks like he's going to try and get behind us. Most ships have their engines in the back. That makes them more vulnerable from behind. If he tries to get behind us in the meantime, he'll be wide open. So, okay, we can wait to see what he does, playing a bit, cautiously, or try and get behind him instead. So we're going to go for that. So now's our chance. He won't be expecting us to try and get round the back of him. And in we go, swooping in. And if we're lucky, good job, boy. Now we can just open fire. And because I've been, saving up all my spirits and whatnot, oh yeah, oh flippin' yeah, this is going to be cocking fun. Every hit's now going to be critical. He basically can't attack us because we just completely screwed him over. And here come the criticals, and please don't mess this up. Oh my, 4,000 damage, that'll cock it do. And, sorry, did you think we were done? Because we're not done. You're stuck doing nothing for the whole of this turn while we basically batter you, and that's probably going to be the end of the fight right here. Another 2,000. That was Ica, I think, wasn't it? Yes, that wasn't Drachma. But if we get lucky in just a second, here comes our last attack, and if it hits, 2,000 damage, which is enough to deal with Baltor. So with that one maneuver, the fight is ours. Mag-cocking-nificent. Getting us loads of XP, everybody up to level 8, apart from Drachma, who's up to level 13, and oh, Drachma just picked up a dumb amount of hit points. I love it. And on top of that, for winning, we get ourselves a Captain Stripe, a very important item, though. Okay, before we get to that, let's just, savor our victory for a moment. Oh, yeah. Oh, flippin' yeah. You just naff off, buddy. You and your stupid burning ship. I love it. Blasted, you are lucky this time. I will hunt you down and have my revenge. This I swear on the code of the Black Pirates, you will rue the day that you ever cross paths with me. Okay, Vise, you're making enemies too fast. Like, a lot of people have sworn you'll rue the day you cross them in the last 24 hours. Like, this is happening too much. And this I just love, by the way, because, yes, indeed, me and Ica are going to do our stupid dance, and Drachma's having cocking none of it. We're not there yet, you idiot, and never take your hands off the wheel until we've come to a complete stop. You know what? That's a very good point, Drachma. I am completely on your side on this one. And yes, indeed, that Captain Stripe, you use that on the boat to make it even better. So here we go, the little Jack, currently at 10,000 hit points. How about 11,000 instead? And as for my Nasr merchant friend, just mosey round the corner, because hello there guys, you are the Nasr Border Patrol. So greetings, welcome home. We are the fleet that guards the southern Danal Strait. We will escort you from this point. So there we go, the job is flipping done. It would appear that you have safely brought me home. As I promised, here is the Valoan passport, so there we flipping go. And with that, we can finally get into Valor. I say finally, like, we didn't really have any plan whatsoever half an hour ago. Honestly, we've made remarkable progress. And there we go, the merchant mosts onwards, and I'm trying to remember if we ever meet him again over the course of the game. I think we might do down the line, so okay, we'll keep an eye out for him. Marvellous. But you know what? With our first ship victory under our belt and a Valoan passport in hand, I would say, how about we call it a part there? But next time, we are moving straight into Valor and trying to figure out how precisely we're going to rescue our dad, and of course the mysterious feeder too. So hopefully you join me next time for that. But in the meantime, I've been John, this has been Many a True Nerd, and this has been Skies of Arcadia. Thank you very much, and goodbye. If we just hide the bodies, nobody needs to know about this. Yes, My stupid plan has worked! It turns out I'm a genius! The giant rat scorpion is not gone! Oh, hang on, there's more yet, though. I'm still being very shocked. Guys, where's the NCR? Nobody needs to know.